Shri Guru Charitra, Chapter 35 Somvar Vrat Mahima. This chapter narrates about the Somvar Vrat Mahima and the story of Princess Simantini. It also tells how the mantras forfeit their potency if they are made overt, and that for a woman the vratas are far more beneficial than the mantras. There is a higher power than destiny. Mat bhakta na pranashyati. My devotee never perishes, is the eternal assurance of the Lord. But the Lord also knows what is good and what is appropriate for His devotees, and He has His own way of dispensation of His grace. Leaving it all to His will and mercy, let us surrender unto Him. Siddhamuni continued the narrative of the Guru Charitra to Namdharak as under. Savitri's heart was overflowing with gratitude and devotion towards Gurunath, who had restored her husband's life. The husband looked quite hale and healthy, with no trace of his former disease at all. Savitri now prayed to Gurunath to give her mantra upadesh, which would protect herself and her husband against all the turmoils of life in this world and give them a safe passage to the life beyond and liberate them forever. Gurunath told her that for a woman no mantra is needed, that Pati Seva alone would safely ferry her across the ocean of samsara to the heavenly shores beyond. For a woman, the mantra is not as efficacious as Pati Seva. Further, a mantra needs strict nishtha, secrecy, etc. A mantra cannot be given to anybody and everybody. It requires some merit on the part of the recipient. Otherwise, it loses its potency and does not confer the due benefit. That was what happened in the case of Sanjeevani mantra of Shukracharya, the preceptor of the Asuras. Sri Narasimha Saraswati explained it further as follows. Once a war was raging between the Devas and the Asuras. Shukracharya alone knew the Sanjeevani mantra, the chanting of which would revive the dead back to life instantly. Because of the power and protection of the Sanjeevani mantra, the Asuras could remain invincible, and the Devas, as they had no recourse to and no protection of a mantra, were being routed in the battle. The Devas had to flee away, utterly defeated and battered. The Devas then went to the Kailash and narrated to Lord Shiva their woes and perilous condition and prayed to him to rescue them from the devastating onslaught of the Asuras against them. Shiva sent Nandi to fetch Shukracharya. When the latter was brought, Shiva gulped him into his mouth. Shukracharya stayed for some days in the stomach of Shiva, but one day managed to come out when Shiva was lost in Samadhi. He reached back to the kingdom of Asuras safe, and the Asuras were again emboldened that their preceptor's full protection was restored to them. They became again a great menace and terror to the Devas. The Devas then hatched out a plan. The preceptor of the Devas, sage Brihaspati, had a son named Kacha. Kacha was sent to Shukracharya to be his disciple and to study under him. Shukracharya accepted him as a student because of his veneration for Brihaspati. Shukracharya's daughter Devayani caught a fascination and liking for Kacha. Once the Asuras had caught hold of Kacha secretly and killed him. At Devayani's pleadings, however, Shukracharya, by the power of his Sanjeevani mantra, revived him and brought him back to life. When the Asuras caught hold of Kacha secretly the second time, they did not want the body to be left after slaying him because Shukracharya might again bring him back to life. Therefore this time, they burnt the slain body to ashes, mixed the ashes in wine, which they surreptitiously made Shukracharya to drink. As Kacha did not return home in the night, Devayani expressed her anxiety to Shukracharya about the safety of Kacha. Shukracharya saw through his Divya Drishti that the ashes of Kacha were in his stomach, and this he told Devayani. He told her that this time he would not be able to bring him back to life. If he were to try to bring him back to life, as Kacha would have come out of his, that is Shukracharya's stomach, he, Shukracharya himself, would be dying in the process. Therefore, he would not be able to save him this time. But Devayani pleaded that if he would teach her the Sanjeevani mantra, and in the process of reviving Kacha, if he were to die, she would chant the mantra and revive him back to life. At her persistent pleading, he taught her the mantra. As he was uttering the mantra, Kacha heard it from within the stomach of his guru and memorized it. Kacha was saved. Shukracharya also was revived back to life. Later, Devayani pleaded to Kacha that he should marry her. But Kacha pleaded that it would be a sacrilege to do so. They were like sister and brother to each other. First, she was his guru's daughter. Further, having merged out from the vitals of Shukracharya by the result of the mantra, he also had become the child of Shukracharya. Furthermore, she having revived him back to life, she was like a mother to him. Therefore, he said the marriage was unthinkable between them. Saying thus, he left and went back to his father. The Sanjeevani mantra, however, had lost its potency for good, having been given to a woman who did not merit the mantra, and further having lost its secrecy because of being overheard by another, that is Kacha, that is besides the one it was intended to, that is Devyani, at that time. As Sri Narsimha Saraswati dissuaded Savitri from being desirous of taking mantra, the woman pleaded that she be taught some vrat, which would be as beneficial as a mantra. Sri Narsimha Saraswati told her about the Somvar Shiva Vrata. He narrated another anecdote to illustrate the beneficial effects of this vrat. Once upon a time in the olden days, there lived a king by the name Chitravarma in Aryavrat. He was in the line of the great Nala. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He had no children for a long time. At last, a daughter was born to him. She was named Simantini. The king consulted his court astrologers about the future of the princess. They all said she would grow into a very virtuous girl and would have a long life. But at the age of 14 itself, she was likely to become a widow. The king's and the queen's hearts were filled with gloom and sorrow at the prospect of their daughter's widowhood. The princess reached the age of 7. The king started searching a suitable alliance for her. Meanwhile, Simantini learned the Somvar Shiv Vrat from Maitrayani, which is believed to confer Mangalya and auspiciousness to women. From that very young age, she started performing this vrata. She was thereafter married to a young prince by the name of Chitrangad, the son of King Indrasena. The marriage was celebrated in all regal pomp. One day, Prince Chitrangada went to swim in the river Kalandi along with his friends. There were also his guards attending upon him. The prince was swimming in the stream with his friends. He was suddenly caught in the whirlpool in midstream and sank down. The guards tried to search for him and save him, but to no avail. Simantini said to her father and mother that she would throw herself into the stream and die to join her husband in the other world at least. Her grief was inconsolable. She was all fury against Shiva, as in spite of her devout and strict observance of the Somvar Vrat, he had not protected her at all. She was being dissuaded by all from doing Sahagamana because Shastras did not approve of Sahagamana for a woman without the dead body of her husband by the side. To add to the misfortune, as the king and the people were steeped in sorrow at the prince's death, one enemy king attacked the kingdom of Indrasena and defeated the latter. Misfortunes never come alone, but come in a chain, is the old saying. So it was the case with regard to Indrasena, who lost his son as well as his kingdom. When Chitrangada was caught in the whirlpool, he sank down to the depths of the river. The damsels of Nagloka sighted him and rescued him, and took him to their kingdom in the netherworld. It was the kingdom of Dakshaka, the great serpent king. The Nagakanyas sprinkled Amrit over the body of Chitrangada, who was lifeless. The Amrit revived him instantly. He was taken to King Dakshak, who received him very kindly. Dakshak was happy to learn that Chitrangada was in the line of the descent of the famed king Nala, who happened to be a dear friend of his in the olden times. Dakshak was very hospitable to him. The prince was looked after very well. The prince found that Dakshaka's city was very rich and a beautiful one. After some time, Chitrangada asked Dakshak to permit him to go back to his father. Dakshak gave him a very warm and loving send-off and sent a Nag prince for escort and also gave him many precious and handsome gifts. The prince and the Nag prince who escorted him emerged out of the waters of the midstream. They swam to the bank. Just at that time, Simantini came to the river for a bath before her vrat as it happened to be Somvar, that is Monday. Although God seemed to have let her down, still she wanted to continue the vrat. The prince recognized her as Simantini, the princess who was wedded to him. Her face was clouded with grief. He inquired of her who she was and why she looked so much grief-stricken. Although he had a close resemblance to her dead husband, she did not take him to be her husband as she thought her husband was lost forever. The maids waiting for the princess narrated to the prince all about her misfortune and how she lost her husband whom she loved so dearly. The stranger, that is the prince, said he knew Chitrangada very well and that the latter was quite safe and would return to her soon. After saying thus, the prince, along with the Naga prince, went to his father's kingdom. Already by that time, the enemy was thrown back and Indrasena got back his kingdom. The king was most delighted at his son's safe return. He sent messengers immediately to Chitravarma to inform him of the happy turn of events and of his son's safe return, and that he, along with his son, was coming over there to his kingdom. The joy of Simantini knew no bounds. Her faith in Lord Shiva and the merits of the Somvar Vrat were thus vindicated, and she had got back her lost husband. Sri Narsimha Saraswati thus impressed on Savitri the Mahima of the Somvar Shiva Vrat. He told her that she should observe the Vrat all through her life, and this Vrat meant worship of himself, that is Sri Narsimha Saraswati only. Savitri and her husband then offered elaborate worship to Gurunath, performed Sama Aradhana, and with the blessings of Gurunath returned to their hometown, Mahur. The parents of the young man were overwhelmed with joy at the safe return of their son and daughter-in-law and to see their son restored completely to good health. Their hearts overflowed with gratitude towards Gurunath for the divine mercy which he had showered on the family. Thus ends the 35th chapter of Sri Guru Charitra describing Simantini Akhyan. Glory to the All-Merciful, the Omnipresent and the ever-responsive Gurunath. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.